Latin Mass Catholics come back to earth. 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 Okay, Latin Mass Catholics come back to earth. That is the message for you because, okay, so you're like, Latin Mass is it. Latin Mass is the Holy of Holies. Latin Mass is bliss, right? Okay, so that's where you are. But you have to have a heart of love for people who are not there. And it's easy to say, oh, well, there is oil under, that mountainside. That's another thing to get that oil, okay? So you're like, oh, the Latin Mass is it, but how do you get people there? And so you sit back on your laurels criticizing everybody, and you're not doing anything to help get people there. That's the problem. And that's what the Pharisees did. They, put burdens on people that they weren't even keeping themselves. I mean, no, you can't do that. You're setting such a high standard for the fallen human race. And that's not love. And that's why you really don't know what evangelization is. Or if you do, you're not showing it. Okay, because evangelization is literally getting out there, going amongst the people. So, and then you got to learn who they are, what they believe in. You have to pay for their, listen, it's not like we're living in, Richville, where everybody's doesn't have to worry about food. They got to feed their kids. They don't have to worry about, whether or not their oil is going to run out, or if, the pipes freeze in this kind of winter, who's going to pay for the plumbing? I mean, do you understand? Like, you act like, everyone is just got all this time to, argue about the Latin Mass or not. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's selfish. So if you have a true faith and you are, just in Catholic Blissville with the Latin Mass, you have got to humbly come back into the community, okay, and love and evangelize. That's the whole thing. That's what our Blessed Mother wants. Because if the Blessed Mother is the Blessed Mother, then there's no one on this earth who is outside of her ability to love. Okay? Her heart, the divine feminine, the heart of God, really loves to the utmost, loves to exponential, okay, which includes unborn children. I mean, they're probably not even last on the list, you know what I mean, of people to love. You have got, does she love the fallen angels? But what I'm saying is, if there's question whether she loves the fallen angels, do you not think she loves the unborn babies in the womb? So you have got to get out and evangelize. You can't just stay in your Latin world. You can't do that. That's wrong. It's hurting the church. And that's what Pope Francis is getting at. Okay, Pope Francis is clearly prophetic. He's clearly evangelical. He's clearly Marian. He's, clearly prayer. So he's not going, crazy over the Latin Mass. How do you know he doesn't love the Latin Mass? But he is going out to the people. It's like I don't know how you describe it, but Jesus didn't come and just ignore people's suffering, okay, and just focus on the Latin Mass. He didn't do that. He did not do that at all. And when you have a hurting world like we have, you have got to expand your heart here if you truly want to be considered by Our Lady and by Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have got to turn to them and say, hey, is this really how you want me to evangelize and spend all my time and energy? Or is there something that I could do that's a little bit more helpful? Now, what I guess I'm saying is you got to share. If you're rich, you got to share what you have. Like, you have to make sure that's not the reason that you're so critical of everybody, because you just don't want to share what you have. That's serious stuff. So all I'm saying is that these are extraordinary times. Pope Francis has just called for an extraordinary year of mercy, kicking off on the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. Wow. Wow. So basically, I love the Latin Mass, right? I mean, you can get lost in the Latin Mass. I mean, I understand that. I do understand that. It's deep, there's no question about it. Now, that's, a noble goal, to get people to that bliss. I mean, if it's bliss, if you're experiencing that bliss with the Latin Mass, like you're just lost in God's presence, if that's happening in the Latin Mass, then I would think you would attract people, and it just doesn't seem like that's happening. I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, the type of people you attract, tells a lot about, what you're promoting. So, if you're attracting people who are like really loving and really giving and pro-life and Marian and, just kind, generous, loving, caring people, if those are the kind of people who are coming into the Latin Mass communities, then I would say, that the experience is definitely legit. Now, my experience has not been that at all. Okay, like the Latin Mass people that I know, definitely kind of snooty. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. And not that they're not believers. They are believers. I'm not saying they're not believers. All I'm saying is these are believers who don't want to get their hands dirty. Okay, I guess is how I can describe it. Believers who don't want to get their hands dirty. Now, as far as my personal experience at the Latin Mass, I can I definitely can meditate more. No question about it. The only thing is, and the music's good. I like the music, the chanting. It's it's just so, I don't know how to describe it. It's so different than the regular Catholic Mass, the Novus Ordo. It's so different from that you almost feel like you didn't go to Mass. I mean, that's isn't that interesting? So I would definitely say, I I can promote the Latin Mass. I really can, because I like it. Because the alternative is so bad. You know, the alternative is really bad. So everything about it is ridiculously awkward. You know, the standing, the sitting, um, the, you know, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it just, the people aren't really into it, in the sense that you're just going through the motions. You know, if you're feeling the Mass and everyone around you is feeling the Mass, then yeah, that's what we all want. But the reality is, that's not what's happening. Even in the Latin Mass, that's not happening either. I mean, so if you can somehow correct that space, that distance, you know, the Latin Mass, you have the priest who looks like he's totally absorbed, but the people, it's like, okay, you know, whether, if you're into it, yes. If you're distracted with kids, no. You know, and it's just like fulfilling your Sunday obligation. So the Mass, once again, is it's a sacrifice. The sacrifice, you know, the sacrifice. So it is a sacrifice. It's not a celebration as much as it is a sacrifice. So the, I think what the Novus Ordo try to do is make it more of a celebration. Get the focus off the sacrifice and make it more of a celebration. So, you know, that's going to be the thing, is like the Protestants, they have celebrations. Like you go there and it's like rock and roll, you know? The Latin Mass is a sacrifice. You're going there to sacrifice the Lord, you know, on the altar. It's a sacrifice. So all I can say is, you know, you can get, like, Jesus didn't talk about that, you know, like this, the focus on the sacrifice, the Passover sacrifice, the lamb, he really didn't talk about it. You know, they had the Last Supper, yes, and he celebrated Passover. Okay. And, you know, but the thing is, do we still celebrate Passover? You know, the Jews still celebrate Passover. Do we still celebrate Passover? I mean, that's like, you know, the lamb's blood on the door, you know, when Jesus was crucified, right? The lamb's blood on the door. The Old Testament Passover is the lamb's blood, you know, on the door. So we're going to continue to offer this sacrifice. It's reparation. It's acknowledging, you know, that we have a fallen world, basically. Why else would you sacrifice? You know, you would, yeah, and so we're continuing to sacrifice because we have a fallen world. Now, the Protestants celebrate, okay, so they're like past that. They're past really the crucifixion, it seems, in their liturgy, the, you know, more born again evangelical $1 million jet guys. Okay, so now, so everyone likes to feel good, right? So that's why a lot of people are Protestant and join those, because everyone wants to feel good, you know, and you, whatever, you know, there's good music. So that's really like the key here, you know. Do we persevere with the sacrifice? The sacrifice is clearly more evident in the Latin Mass. But here again, you know, if the people aren't really into it, that's the thing, you know, you want to pull that off. It's almost like leave it to the angels, you know, leave it to the angels in this time of, you know, horrible suffering in the world, all this darkness and doom and gloom. Okay. you almost have to leave it to the angels. And you say, oh no, well, I'm better off, just, praying all day. Well, yeah, to a certain extent, but I mean, everyone's got to really discern that, you know. It's the celebration that's the issue, not necessarily the praying. The praying is important. So, and that's something too. What people don't understand with yoga, it is difficult. I mean, it's not easy. Some of these postures, and they're painful to a certain extent because they challenge your muscles and so all I'm saying is you got to get behind Pope Francis. You got to understand. You have to follow his example. He could be an absolute lover of the Latin Mass, which he probably is. But what he's trying to clearly say is now is not the time to just get lost in the Mass. Now is the time to get lost in the world, in trying to save people and help people. That's really what he's doing. So it's all about timing, Jesus had timing, so if he's getting ready to enter the passion, and Judas wants to talk about money, like that could have been used, like that's what I'm saying. Like Judas his timing was off, like big time. He wasn't in time with Jesus Christ. And so he lost everything, because he wasn't really in tune with Jesus. So yet he was, spiritually inclined that, following a savior was something he felt comfortable with. Now, following Pope Francis right now is something that I feel comfortable with. I really do. And I'm not saying he's perfect and he can't make mistakes. He can. But I think he's enough under the Blessed Mother's mantle that it's not going to be, he's safe. I mean, really, I think he's safe. So I just plead with you, my brothers and sisters in the Latin Mass community, to consider everything I'm saying and to really just, get back involved in the parish life and pro-life work. Even on Facebook and social media, don't come across as just being this exclusive group that, you're just going to complain. Okay? You really do have to expand. You got to make some more friends and listen to what other people are doing and what other people's experiences are that are real. Thank you.